The Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, this is CNS News. This is the president. The president runs the federal government. Has released 2,837 convicted criminal alien sex offenders back into American communities in order to comply with a Supreme Court decision authored by Clinton-appointed Justice Stephen Breyer, according to a new report by the Government Accountability Office. This is what I mean, all the talk about gun control and everything else. They're letting criminals out. The 2,837 sex offenders represented 5% of the almost 60,000 deportable aliens that have been released from detention under the supervision of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Service, ICE, according to the GAO report. Quote, there are circumstances in which criminal aliens have been ordered removed from the United States, including those convicted of a sex offense. They cannot be removed, the report states. For example, a criminal alien may not be removed because the designated country will not accept the alien's return. Now, the GAO is referring to the 2001 Supreme Court case Zadiedas versus Davis to explain why ICE is required to release foreigners who've been convicted of sex crimes. In its 5-4 decision, the court ruled that the indefinite detention of removable aliens for greater than 6 months is unconstitutional unless there is, quote, significant likelihood of removal in the reasonably foreseeable future, unquote. So who protects us, folks? Freedom from imprisonment lies at the heart of the liberty protected by the Due Process Clause, Associate Justice Stephen Breyer wrote in the majority opinion. Breyer was joined in his opinion by John Paul Stevens at the time, a Gerald Ford appointee, Sandra Day O'Connor, a Reagan appointee, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a Clinton appointee, David Souter, a George H.W. Bush appointee. But writing for the minority, Justice Antonin Scalia, also a Reagan appointee, said, quote, insofar as a claimed legal right to release into this country is concerned, an alien under final order of removal stands on an equal footing with an inadmissible alien at the threshold of entry. He has no such right, unquote. Justice Anthony Kennedy, also a Reagan appointee, concurred, noting that the authority to detain beyond the removal period is to protect the community, not to negotiate the alien's return. An alien's admission to this country is conditioned upon compliance with our laws, and removal is the consequence of a breach of that understanding. Clarence Thomas also dissented from the majority opinion, as did at the time William Rehnquist. Now, a GAO report also revealed that large numbers of convicted alien sex offenders that ICE did in fact manage to deport from the country simply turned around and came back in and then committed another offense in the United States. This is sick. It's just pathetic. According to the data that the ICE ERO provided to us, said the GAO report, of 4,359 alien sex offenders who were removed from the country between January and August 2012, 220 of them, 5%, had previously been removed, but returned to the United States and were arrested for another offense. Also, about 5% of released alien sex offenders did not register as sex offenders in the communities they were settled in by the federal government. Pretty pathetic. Now, who runs ICE? Who is ultimately in charge of ICE? Who is ultimately in charge of these decisions? The President of the United States. He is. He's in charge. Well, that's pretty pathetic, don't you think? Yeah, I think so.